Cops vs. Thugs was released by Arrow Video and directed by Kinji Fukasaku in 1975. If I'm not mistaken, that is correct. This is a Yakuza film, and as the title suggests, you're pretty much going to know what you're getting yourself into. Yakuza, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Japanese mafia. It's a pretty well-known thing, but just in case. And yeah, it's an action-packed Japanese film that you pretty much know what to expect from the name. This guy directed a few films that I haven't seen. This is the first one that I've actually seen, but I've heard about a lot of his. Obviously, Battle Royale. I'm very sorry that I've never seen Battle Royale. It's on my list. I'm going to watch it. I have read the book, Battle Royale, and it's amazing. So I can only expect the same thing from the film, and it's Tarantino's favorite film too. So he also directed Doberman Cop, which I heard of and is released by Arrow. And he directed the the Japanese portion of the American film Tora Tora Tora, which was released in 1970 and I believe is a war film. But Cops vs. Thugs, okay. I love these kinds of films. Japanese cinema is amazing. Asian cinema in general is incredible. And anything to do with the Yakuza, I'm pretty much all over. I went into this blind. I really didn't even see a trailer. Maybe I saw one, but just went into it blind. All Arrow Video titles pretty much deliver. Like, if you know what you're getting yourself into kind of thing, that's the original artwork. It's pretty badass that it comes with the original artwork, but if I'm going to display it on my shelf, I much prefer the restored artwork that they always put out on Arrow films. But it's nice having that that classic 1975 Japanese poster. So, this is based on events that took place in the 60s in West Japan, in Kurashima City, in 1963. So that's where we start off. And our two main characters are, I wrote them down because they're all over the place. There's Kuno, and then there's Hirotani, Kenji, is it Ken? Yeah, Kenji Hirotani. And they're both cops. One of them obviously is involved with the Yakuza. The Yakuza is obviously there's a lot of corruption going on with, police and gangs and, Yakuza and everything like that. So as the title suggests, there's a lot of corruption going on all over the place with the film. Now, this is also my first time watching this film, so this is my perspective of going in blind and watching it for the first time. This is a film that I will watch again for sure and probably get a lot more out of. There's a lot of kind of noir / western vibes in this film, which I love. It really feels like Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino blended. It's like if Martin Scorsese wrote a script and Tarantino directed the movie. It really feels like that in the vibes and the way it comes across, especially with the story. The reason I say Scorsese is because obviously it deals with gangs, and that's his strong point with his films. But it's the depth in the plot and all the things that are going on with not double crossings really, although they're in here, but just quietness and gang-related issues, basically, but a lot of them, and they're really heavy. It's not a thin plot. It's a very thick plot that has a lot going on, and a lot of things you can miss if you don't pay, 100% attention. But the opening scene right away, I think it's really funny. There's these four guys, they're obviously criminals, they're escaping from something or someone. They stop in the middle of the road. One guy runs to a restaurant. He's like, 4 orders of sushi, quick, hurry up. And then takes the sushi, and he's just, send the bill to the office. And runs back to the car. They, start eating the sushi while driving. And they come across this guy who pulls them over. He's just standing on the road, but he's obviously a cop. And he starts questioning them, and he gets them out of the car, and he starts interrogating them, and he's, slapping them around. Very violent movie, by the way. And he basically tells them just to pay, go back to the restaurant, pay for the sushi, and go on their way and kill whoever the fuck they wanted, because it will cost, it will it will be less tax money if the gangs just annihilate the other gang or just basically kill each other. So the cop basically says, I don't give a shit, just go do whatever the hell you want because it's cheaper for us and less paperwork for us, pretty much. So I found that funny. But this is where we are introduced now to Hirotani and Kuno. They basically carry the film. We're also introduced to other characters, one called Tomoyasu, and Tomoyasu and, not Kaida, Kawade. Tomoyasu and Kawade are basically your two villains. And they're on the Yakuza side of things. They're kind of like head to head on each other for turf and stuff like that. There's this whole plot point on this ocean property which belongs to this guy named Ohara. And Ohara is in prison, but Ohara owns this ocean property. This ocean property is being auctioned, and Hirotani basically enters the auction and wants it for himself. But there's a lot of corruption that goes on his part because he is involved in the Yakuza himself. And because he's a police officer, he starts to get investigated throughout the film because they start to suspect suspicious behavior in this auction and him rigging it and all kinds of stuff like that. I wrote down on my notes the Hirotani. I'm always gonna look at the names. Hirotami he has the creepiest faces. I'm telling you, if anybody has seen the video on YouTube, Two Guys, One Organ, he looks like the pink guy. If you haven't seen Two Guys, One Organ, go on YouTube and watch it. Two Guys, One Organ. You'll thank me later. It's hilarious. But he looks like the pink guy. Okay? His facial features, and his posture even, is that guy to a T. So funny. All the time he's like, just the shit he says. He's talking in this one scene about how he wants this hostess to give him head, and he's like rubbing his crotch, and he's like, with his like shoulders like this, and it's just the fucking most cringy posture and face you could possibly make. He does that through the whole film. And Kuno, his partner, is a lot more reserved than he is. But I liked both characters a lot. There's a lot of violence in this film, like I was saying. A lot of sexual scenes, too. There's a lot of, like, violent sex and rape going on, as expected in a lot of Asian cinema. They don't really hold back from that kind of stuff. There's one scene in an apartment where these two guys are basically fighting each other, one with a knife. And then there's a TV playing, and it's playing this, like, kind of joyful kid-sounding song. And it's called, like, Hello, My Little One. I'm offering you, like, joy, and it's such a happy song, and these guys are, like, after each other, and one's stabbing the shit out of the other, while there's this woman in the room, like, trying to stop them and everything. So there is definitely a lot going on. There's a lot of like car chases, and like I said, the music really adds to the atmosphere with it sounds noir. There's a lot of like saxophone going on every once in a while, but it also sounds Western and it kind of feels Western. Definitely the way like a Tarantino film would go forth, especially with the car chases and stuff like that. I really enjoyed this film. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And I don't know what I would give it out of 100. I'd still have to kind of think about it. Definitely merits a second watch, like I said. I'm kind of going through my favorite parts and kind of giving the gist. I also don't want to spoil a lot that happens in it, story-wise, I mean. But, yeah, they start to investigate Hirotani later on. There's also a plot point that involves a little bit of history with Kuno and Hirotami, where Kuno like got him out of a very bad situation 6 years prior, and that's kind of resurfacing in the sense that some people are suspecting Kuno of doing so, and because he's a cop, like he kind of like looked the other way in a situation where he should have, you know, followed the law, and he didn't for his buddy. So that plays a part throughout the film as well, and like as it gets to the third act. And something pretty big happens at the end, which I like. It all takes place in a hotel, and there's kind of like a siege. So the last 20 minutes of the film just goes haywire. It's basically a siege with like cops and thugs all over the place. And you got a hostage situation with this one police officer that just retired, and they get him and they put him in this hotel, and It goes bonkers and it goes absolutely insane. So it's definitely a film that you like. It delivers what it's supposed to, and with a director like Fukasaku. Sorry, I keep saying Fukasaki. Kinji Fukasaku, knowing that he directed Battle Royale, being that this is one of his earlier films in the 70s, which is actually said to be one of the best Japanese films of the 70s. It's a real treat, and I'm really glad I finally got my hands on it because it already has been out from Arrow for a while, but I just got my hands on it November, I think, or November or December or something like that, and it's been on my shelf since. So I was waiting to review it. I was waiting to watch it and give it a review, but yeah, I want to watch it again. It was great. If you like Japanese cinema and if you love Yakuza, you definitely can't miss this one. So go ahead and check it out for sure. And subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more when I can, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button, and until next review, take care and cheers.